主席万钢，93学社中央主席伍维华，台盟中央主席周飞
and Chairman of China Zhigong Party,
全国工商联主席
Chairman of
高云
the
龙，
Jiusan Society, Mr. Wu Weihua, Chairwoman of Taiwan Democratic Self-Government League, Ms. Su Fei, and Chairman of All China Federations of Industry and Commerce, Mr. Gao Yunlong. This press conference will last for about 1 hour. First, every chairman will brief you one by one. Please welcome the chairman of the Revolutionary Committee of the Chinese Kuomintang, Mr. Wang Exiang. Good afternoon, friends from the press. I'm delighted to be here since last time 5 years ago. Hereby, firstly, I would like to avail my appreciation to dear friends from press. Thank you for your support to the Revolutionary Committee of the Chinese Kuomintang. Established in the 1st of January in 1948 in Hong Kong. This year marks the 70th anniversary of the Revolutionary Committee of the Chinese Kuomintang. 70 years on, we uphold the spirit of Sun Yat-sen, and we keep the prosperous nation and harmony for people in mind. We've been working and supporting the CPC for all the time. Democratic supervision and political engagement are the responsibility for us. 5 years on, the Revolutionary Committee of the Chinese Kuomintang has been focusing on following 3 aspects. The first is social and legal problems, and second is the 3 rural problems, and the third is the harmonious and unified development. Over these 3 aspects, we have conducted 214 research and inspections. And through direct communication, we directly reported and submitted 78 papers of research to the Central Committee of the CPC, and we received 187 guidelines from the Central Committee of CPC. 5 years on, through the platform of CPPCC, on behalf of the Revolutionary Committee of the Chinese Kuomintang, we submitted 42 conference addresses, and we have involved in 5 consultative conferences. We have 45 CPPCC members who have been participated in 40 meetings. Their voices were heard and contributed to China's political development. The Revolutionary Committee of the Chinese Kuomintang addressed great importance to the unification because we have deep relation with Taiwan and the people there. Over the past 5 years, we conducted a series of youth communication between Chinese mainland and Taiwan. We invited parties and societies from Taiwan to visit in Chinese mainland for more than 300 times in order to improve the common national, ethnical, and cultural unification. That's my briefing, and I'm delighted to answer your questions later.
Now let's welcome the Chairman Ding Zhongli from China Democratic League. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would mainly give a brief introduction on three aspects of China Democratic League. China Democratic League was established in 1941, and it has already been 71 years since establishment. At the beginning of our establishment, our original thought is to fight against Japan, fight for democracy, and fight for peace. Over the past few years, we've been staying closely with the CPC, and we have making great contribution and effort to the liberation and also to the development of China. Previously, Mr. Li Zhanshu sent a greeting address to the CPC, and he did three remarks, which means that during the revolutions, CPC will had a critical battle over liberation, and over development stage, CPC had critical battle over economic development. And China Democratic League will always stay closely with CPC, and we are very proud with that remark. Second, China Democratic League has around 295,000 members, and that is the largest member of the non-communist organizations. Of those members, 75% of members come from education, culture, and technology sectors. And also over those 295,000 members, over 19,000 members have been actively participating in being the deputy of NPC or the delegates of CPPCC. Also, there is 51 academias and scholars, and some of them even have won the toppest technology award from Germany. We're very proud to tell you that our organization has accumulated various top talents. Also, I'd like to tell you that China Democratic League has its unique tradition. And also, we try to make more contributions and efforts to help and assist CPC and also the President Xi Jinping. And we will continue to do so, do more contribution and make more effort, make more solid effort for the benefit of the people. And we sincerely hope that friends from the press will continue your support to our work and continue your support to my work. Thank you.
Next, let's welcome Chairman of China National Democratic Construction Association, Mr. Hao Mingjing. Good afternoon, friends from the press. I'm delighted to be here and to meet all of you. I find you have the materials of the introduction, so hereby I would like to briefly introduce myself and China National Democratic Construction Association. I used to be a professor in universities and lawyers in the court. And as member of China National Democratic Construction Association, I played a role in the local level and the central level. And last year, I was elected to be the chairman of National Democratic Construction Association in November. Our association is an association of honor and glorious mission. We established it in 1945 in Chongqing. Since then, we've been closely working with the CPC and contributed to China's reform. This two session has 57 delegates from our association and 102 members of the CPPCC. Our association is closely related to economic development. Since its establishment in 1945, the people, the founders, are mainly from the business industry and some experts. And now our association have 480,000 members. 78% people are from economic industry, and there are also people from government and other walks of society. Our association is guided and led by CPC. In recent years, China National Democratic Construction Association has upheld the new urbanization and to help promote the Yangtze River Delta development, and also further conduct research, proactively offer suggestions and words to the Central Committee. Meanwhile, we actively operate the social services, and we also contribute to poverty alleviation. And in the future, Construction Association will closely follow the thought of the 19th Party Congress and continue to uphold the modernized economic system spirit and rural revitalization strategy and other national strategies. This is how Construction Association support and engage in national development. This is also the new concept. Our achievements cannot be done without your supports, and media friends have been supporting us for a long time. Hereby, I would like to thank you all. Meanwhile, I hope in future media friends can continue concerning and reporting about Construction Association.
Now let's welcome the chairman from China Association for Promoting Democracy. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm from China Association for Promoting Democracy. The full name for that, China Association for Promoting Democracy, calls for your attention. Our organizations mainly focus on members from cultural background. And the association was established in 1945 in Shanghai. And for our older generation of leaders include Ye Shengtao, Lei Jiechong, Xie Bingxin, etc. And our association uphold the responsibility to promote the development of our country and surrounding the major task of developing China with the Chinese characteristics for a new era. We will try to participate in the politics in trying to make more political discussions and play an important role in helping the development of China. Rely on our basic responsibilities. We have also played an important role in the development of economy and society. Our capability building has been improving as China enters into a new era. Participatory party like us will always uphold Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era and make our contribution. Thank you.
Next, let's welcome Chairman of Chinese Peasants and Workers Democratic Party, Mr. Chen Zhu. Friends from the press, good afternoon. The Central Committee, Chinese Peasants and Workers Democratic Party, would like to thank you all for your concern and support. I would like to briefly introduce our information. The Chinese Peasants and Workers Democratic Party established and we uphold the spirit of patriotism and we have intellectuals. We uphold the spirit of socialism with Chinese characteristics. And our work contributes 2.5% of the demographic and environmental protection work. We proactively engage in the national development. And also for the health and education development. And we conducted deep research related to national development. We focus on the clean energy usage and also natural resources and environmental protection. In order to contribute to China's ecological civilization. Last year, after the 6th election of Chinese Peasants and Workers Democratic Party, I was again elected as the chairman. In future, I would like to continue working with my colleagues and continue to make efforts with intellectuals and follow the CPC Central Committee's leadership with the Comrade Xi Jinping at its core. And we will keep in mind the spirit in order to echo to the era and the people. Next, let's welcome Chairman of the China Zhigong Party. Dear friends from press, good afternoon. We have seen each other in the before, so we are old and new friends. Thanks for your support in the innovation of technology and science. China Zhigong Party was established in 1925. Our members are mainly
Our members include overseas students and also overseas Chinese, as well as overseas workers. And our principle can be concluded in 5 characters. We will always uphold and try to stick to the benefit of overseas groups and try to utilize the overseas groups' own strength. They do not only represent 50,000 of party members of China Zhigong Party, but also represent the overseas groups across the world. Regarding to the current economic status quo, we have our own thought and suggestions. Both China Democratic League and China Zhigong Party had this meeting and we made an address. The meaning of time is empowered. President Xi Jinping attached great importance to our work to support the overseas group so as to make our contribution to the modernization of China as well as China's reform and opening up. I'd like to quote President Xi's remark. We mustn't neglect the voice of overseas group, and just like each one of you here, I really appreciate the opportunity to come here to exchange views with you. Thank you so much for your attention.
Now let's welcome Chairman Wu Weihua. Friends from press, good afternoon. I'm delighted to meet you here and to brief you about the Jiusan Society. Our society is mainly focused on science, and we closely communicate with the scientific field. In the long run, our historic characteristic is scientific. The founders of Jiusan Society after the establishment of New China, there were batches of academicians who have contributed to China's science and technology greatly. Like some of our members was awarded by the state. And in the report of the 19th Party Congress mentioned the sky, and such scientific and technological achievements, we Jiusan society contributed to it a lot. Our society has been closely following the pace of CPC and engaged in the reform. Only with the unified efforts can we witness prosperity of our nation, and we need to go with the trend of history and make a pragmatic contribution to the national development. As we've ushered in the new era, we need to transform the development mode in order to meet modern economy. And the report of the 19th CPC National Congress addressed innovation. The new thought in new era also guided the Jiusan society. This also imposed higher requirements on us. And last year we held the 11th National People's Congress of Jiusan Society. We are working to promote the CPC's development and national development to a healthier and vigorous pace. Over the past years, media friends have supported and concerned Jiusan society greatly. Hereby, I would like to thank you all and hope in the future you can continue supporting us.
Let's welcome Taiwan Democratic Self-Government League's chairwoman. Ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon I'm very glad to have the opportunity to be here to exchange views and with friends from the press. The full name of our organization is Taiwan Democratic Self-Government League. And this is an organization that includes lots of members from Taiwan who are currently living in mainland China. We are making continuous effort in boosting the path of helping China's national rejuvenation. Since the establishment of Taiwan Democratic Self-Government League, it's been 71 years, and our original vision has always been there. In the 11th NPC, I was elected as the chairwoman of Taiwan Democratic Self-Government League. I will continue to shoulder the responsibility and will uphold the leadership of CPC. Since 1948 in Hong Kong, from Hong Kong to Taiwan, and we received active participations from the members in those areas. And then we institute the common outline for our organization in participating in the politics and discuss politics with regard to Taiwan people. And that will be always remembered in the history of China. We also have played our role in making our contribution in promoting China's development, and in the great course in order to facilitate the peaceful reunification of cross-strait areas, we have made great effort, and thank you, friends from the press. Also, thank you, friends from the Straits. Thank you for your support.
On behalf of the Chinese people, All China Federation of Industry and Commerce, firstly, I would like to thank you all, media friends. Thank you for your reports on the non-public economies. For the organizations above prefecture levels, we have over 3,000 such organizations, and we have over 300 organizations, affiliations above city level. For the business federations belong to ACFIC, we have over 4,000 of them. By the end of last year, what's the number of China's private companies? It's more than 27.6 million enterprises. And with the registered capital surpassed 165 trillion yuan, so you can see the private sector really contributed to China's economy and social progress. There is a saying of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5 means the fiscal revenue. Our contribution to the fiscal revenue accounts for more than 50%, and to GDP it's surpassed 60%, and for the direct exported investment it's also surpassed 60%, and for the corporate investment we contributed for more than 70%, and for the employment creation, we contributed for over 80%. the urban employment number is 425 million, and it's about 300 million in private sector. Last year, we newly added employment and contributed to 90% of the new jobs. Our contribution is great. In terms of stabilizing the growth and promoting growth, innovation, and also in the non-public economy, for the next 5 years, we'll witness stronger growth in terms of non-public economies, and China Federation of Industry and Commerce will continue to contribute under the thought Xi Jinping thought on the socialism with Chinese characteristics in New Year era, and serve the society, proactively guide the non-public economies, and to promote and strengthen non-public sector of the economy. We will continue to uphold patriotism and innovation and be the pioneer in the non-public sector of the economy. We will be self-disciplined to be the pilot in order to promote the sound development of non-public economies, and also to strengthen, to upgrade the non-public economies to a more efficient and fairer grade, so as to contribute to the modernization of China and also the rejuvenation of China. Thank you.
Thank you all for your splendid introduction. Now we will start to take questions. Before you raise your question, please firstly tell us your organization. Now the floor is open.
Thank you.
President Xi Jinping addressed twice in terms of cooperation with various parties. And Mr. Pang, Mr. Hao brought various delegations into Chongqing. And I'd like to ask a question to you about what's your take on the multi-party cooperation? Also, after you have listened to
We noticed that shortly after being elected chairman of China National Democratic Construction Association, you led a group of party members to Chongqing to review history and learn the fine traditions of multi-party cooperation. So, Chairman Hao, what is your understanding of a new type of political party system as stated by General Secretary Xi? And in your opinion, what should the democratic parties do to make new accomplishments in performing duties? Also a question to Chairman Ding Zhongli and Chairman Wang Gang. You were present when General Secretary Xi gave those important remarks on March 4th. What impressed you most?
感谢你提的问题，也感谢你对民建的关注。
Thank you for your
我们
question.
民建刚刚闭幕，在2018年。
Also, thank you for your attention to China National Democratic Constitution Association. In 2008, our delegation went to Chongqing, and now I'll answer your question. President Xi Jinping did two important remarks. And on the new historic trend of China, President Xi pointed out new directions to the model of multi-party system, and that has gave great directory to our future development. And on the 4th of March's remark, President Xi Jinping concluded new features of our system. From my understanding, multi-party system. The new type of multi-party system mainly means that on the basis of the new feature of China, and also on the basis of China innovation and China entrepreneurship, we are going to have a new model of multi-party system and a new political development. And that also have embodied our institutional strength. This systematic development have also shown the world that we will going to have a new type and new method of multi-party system, and also we have given a new answer to the multi-party system for other countries. As the pusher and facilitator of the new type of multi-party system, after listening to the remark of President Xi Jinping, members of our party has impressed a lot, and we will continuously uphold to his thought and try to uphold to the full confidence and develop our capabilities. And on the 4th times of importance remark from President Xi Jinping on the new development and new requirement on the social orders, and also combined with our new thought of our party with aspect to President Xi Jinping's thought, would like to talk about in 5 aspects. Firstly, the new administration shouldered greater responsibility, and that also has posed new challenges for us. We will continue to look back to the history and look forward to the future and continue our effort in our work. We sincerely believe, under the leadership of CPC with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, we will lay a great foundation to the development, and with your support, with the members' support, we will definitely do a better work and break a new era of our work. Secondly, we will utilize our the new thought to direct the new practice. Under the leadership of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, and his new concept, new ideas, new strategy, new initiatives, we will try to have an in-depth understanding of new thoughts so as to have a better practice. Firstly, we will sort out our thought system and do a better practice. Thirdly, we will learn from the tradition and continue to write the chapter of multi-party system. Just now you mentioned that our delegation went to Chongqing to worship the site and also try to remembrance the history of that city, and also look back to the tradition of the strength of multi-party system. On the basis of that, we will continue to work closely with CPC, and on the basis of that tradition, we will never forget our original vision and continue our effort in conducting all kinds of educational activities to promote our original vision. Also, in the transition period, we will always stick to a fluent transition. Also, push forward to the vigorous development of multi-party system. Fourthly, we will always stick to the new trend of development. We will facilitate the development in various aspects and try to make our party a study-oriented party. Also, on the basis of the status quo of our members, we will also make more efforts into the study of finance and economic sector, try to uphold and grasp the major trend in the new era, including artificial intelligence, etc. So that to always keep in line with the time and learn the latest development trend. Fifth, we will always stick to our functions and responsibilities. Last, since the Standing Committee of CPC has already set out new requirements and new plans, we will implement those plans, and we will also institute 5-year plan surrounding the new concept of constructing new socialism and the innovation-driven economic development. Also fight for the 3 crucial battles, and also the core areas set out in the government work report from Premier Lee yesterday. We will continue our effort and make more suggestions and contributions. Currently, we have already made 30 items of proposals, and we have kept the quality and quantity. This year, we went to Hunan and Hubei to conduct ecological environment inspection research so as to initiate the proposal of deepen the ecological development. Next year, we will also utilize the big data so to boost the development of rural area. For these 2 proposals, we have already proposed to the Central Committee. When we are ushering into the new era, we are facing with the new opportunities and challenges as well as requirements of the new era. As a participatory party of CPC, we determine to have new endeavor and make greater effort. That will be all for my answer. Thank you.
Chairman Wang Gang asked me to address firstly, and he will give supplementaries. The CPPCC's relevant events include China Democratic League, and we listened to 8 CPPCC members. President Xi were listening to us, and he addressed. And the journalist asked what impressed me the most. From our perspective, no matter President Xi spent a short time there, but we hear he gave a systematic address on the multi-party cooperation and the democratic consultation. I would like to figure it from 4 aspects. The first one is the socialism with the Chinese characteristics, which has several basic mechanisms. The first is National People's Congress, which is the fundamental of China. And there are other 3 mechanisms. The first is multi-party cooperation under the leadership of CPC, and also democratic regional self-governance and grassroots people self-governance. These are the basic mechanisms in China, which together formed the multi-party cooperation under the leadership of CPC. And is the basis of the political development. Second, President Xi addressed that this system is created and initiated and innovated by China. It's an innovative system, and it's different from a single-party system. It's also different from Western countries' multi-party competitiveness. We have our system of multi-party cooperation. What impressed me a lot is President Xi addressed the formation of multi-party cooperation, which has its historical reasons. Over the past 40 years of Democratic Party's progress, all the parties have been closely working with the CPC. And since 1949, many chairpersons of the Democratic parties cancelled their parties and added their association to CPC. But Chairman Mao at that time didn't agree with it. They said we still need to supervise, inspect each other for the long run. So some of the parties are remained. After the reform and the opening up, President Deng also initiated new policies that's to encourage that multi-parties should supervise and inspect each other for the long run. So we can see the historical reasons for multi-party cooperation. There are numerous events and historic reasons behind this, but I'm just briefing you. And third, for the multi-party cooperation, it has advantages and merits. It is appropriate for China's reality and development. First, it addresses we are different from single-party administration. Single-party administration may arise problems. The multi-party administration appeared in many countries, but for the multi-party competitiveness, there will be some obvious competitiveness which will exert negative effects on society. That's the problem of the multi-party competitiveness. But for us, the multi-party cooperation, it means the leading party, CPC, and other democratic parties are working together to offer solutions and to help the livelihood of the people. And he is reminding me of the time the fourth presidency addressed the multi-party cooperation needs to be completed and developed gradually. That's my understanding.
Now let's welcome Mr. Ding. I will just add on one detail. Secretary General Xi Jinping specifically iterated that we have 3 crucial battles to conquer, especially for poverty alleviation. By the year 2020, the challenge of poverty alleviation is still very crucial, and I can specifically value this mission. Secretary General Xi Jinping mentioned about the research and visit in rural area. In this February, he went to Liangshan, a small village in Liangshan area, in person. Since China Zhigong Party has a close relation with the area, and last summer I also have visited that village. I'd like to tell you that that village is sincerely a remote one. If you want to go there by bus, it will take around 3 hours, especially after you have entered the mountain area. It's very bouncy. That was really a tough trip for Secretary General Xi Jinping to go there. He went there and stayed side by side with the local villagers to get to understand their conditions. That is also an important lesson for us to learn. With the Minister of Technology, I also understand that some specialists also went to these remote rural areas and tried to help them boost the agriculture production by the method of use bean to switch bean or use salt to switch salt. By utilizing those methods, we can see that the livelihood of rural areas people has been improved. I also noticed that some people in the rural area caught special disease due to farming. I sincerely have seen that poverty alleviation is really a crucial battle, and it's a tough one. To do that, we must learn from Secretary General Xi Jinping and go deep into the baseline and get an in-depth understanding of the baseline's condition, so that to conquer this crucial battle in various aspects, including education, industry, etc. This is also what democratic parties should really inspect, and that is the detail that I would like to add on. Please continue your question.
I'm with Hong Kong Wenwei Ta Kung Pao. My question goes to Chairman Ding Zhongli. Mr. Ding, You're familiar to the public as a scientist. Your name is often linked with science and events in this field. But today you're here in your capacity as the newly elected chairman of the Central Committee of China Democratic League. As the chairman of a democratic party and also a scientist, what do you plan to do to lead the Democratic League in performing its duties? Will you put forth vigorous initiatives in your new position?
您这个问题呢，可能隐含着说你这是科学家，可能到不好。这个确实。
Your question includes that scientists cannot play the role of chairman. Actually, this is a challenge on me. After the 19th CPC National Congress, I received this post, and in the past years, I've been working and promoting the unified front and multi-party cooperation work. I still lack some of the knowledge, so firstly, I need to learn from the previous leaders, to learn from their spirit. And I will learn from other chairpersons here. On the other hand, I still have some basis. First, I worked in the scientific and educational field for many years, because in our league, the main members are from scientific and cultural and educational fields, so I think we have the same tie. So I can be the organizer. And next, I learned geography in the academy, and I've been in charge of the geographic environment, and I've learned multiple subjects, especially for the major concerns of China Democratic League are like the Yangtze River Delta integration and the educational supply side of reform and other national systematic reform. I think my background can contribute to this. Due to time limits, I cannot explain it in details.
I'm with China National Radio. We know that a large number of Joseon Society's members are academicians and elite scientists and technologists. So my question goes to Chairman Wu Weihua. Going forward, how will Joseon Society use its own strengths to contribute to the endeavor to build China into a country of innovators?
非常感谢您的问题啊，像我前面已经提到的。
Thank you for your question. As I have mentioned previously, the Joseon Society is mainly comprised of academicians and scientists. Therefore, in order to make contribution to build China into an innovator, it's a very proud responsibility of each member of our society. I'd like to mention that our routine work is to make scientific contribution to China. I mentioned already that previously we've already have 5 scientists in some other top scientists that have won very difficult scientific awards. Now, a number of middle stage scientists in the Jiusan Society still working in the first line. I think some of you might already interviewed Mr. Pan Zhenwei in the deputy corridor. He is also the vice chairman of Jiusan Society, and he's the expert in the world in terms of quantum communication. Jiusan Society, as a participatory party in China, surrounding with the general outline of building China into an innovator, we will continue to contribute new suggestions. Especially over the past 10 years, we have organized and conducted various research topics and groups, and conduct in-depth research in the first line. Surrounding this topic, we have proposed various suggestions, and some of our proposals have been adopted. For example, in terms of the reform of scientific and technological development, proposal has been written into the top documents. Also, with regard to the relationship between incremental and storage, we also made various suggestions. Also, to utilize the role of market in terms of resource allocation, our proposal was listed in the #1 draft of the 12th CPPCC Standing Committee. However, in order to have an in-depth research and make more proposals and suggestions in terms of building China into an innovator, in fact, just the day before yesterday, we had a meeting in the Jiusan Society because the State Council had already spread out the directory under the leadership of the 19th CPC People's Congress. And we did an in-depth research in terms of innovation, and we have already launched our research plan in 2018. We will vigorously encourage our members to continue their effort and put more effort in the scientific arena. Thank you. Please continue your question.
我的问题提给高云龙主席。民营企业是社会扶贫的重要力量，请问您认为在打赢精准脱贫攻坚战的过程中，民营企业能发挥什么样的作用？全国工商联在这方面又做了哪些引导工作？谢谢。
I'm with Economic Daily. My question goes to Chairman Gao Yunlong. We understand that private enterprises have an important part to play in poverty alleviation. In your view, what can private enterprises do in the critical battle of targeted poverty reduction? What efforts has the All China Federation of Industry and Commerce made on this front, and what guidance has you provided?
非常感谢提的这个问题。看来大家对这个精准扶贫
Thank you for your question. It seems media friends are interested on the targeted poverty alleviation. Just now, Chairman Wang Gang also answered this question. Just like you see, On the 19th CPC National Congress, President Xi advocated we, the whole party, the whole nation, the whole society, to integrate power to continue targeted poverty alleviation and to firmly fight to win the critical battle of poverty alleviation, which is one of the 3 critical battles. On the other hand, over the past 40 years of reform and opening up, private sector has witnessed great progress. The boss and people from private sectors has made money, so they have been proactively engaging in the poverty alleviation. They have enthusiasm to be involved. Under this new situation, all China Federations of Industry and Commerce, together with all levels of federations, will continue to advocate and call on private enterprises to be involved in targeted poverty alleviation. We have created various modes and achieved different progress. Media friends may have noted and reported on this. Today, I would like to particularly introduce the brand. That is thousands of enterprises to help thousands of villages. This witnessed a great success. The reason is showed in various aspects. Since 2015, we have worked with the National Poverty Alleviation Office. It launched the project. And since then, we've conducted programs in impoverished areas, which has been highlighted by the Central Committee. President Xi gave us twice of guidelines and to encourage us to give full play of this program. And also other Central Committee leaders guided us. And we have included the state councils. We are included in the State Council's poverty alleviation plans, and we are one of the 10 plans. This can show we are recognized by the Central Committee. We have witnessed real progress. By the end of last year, there were about 46,000 enterprises have involved in this project, and which covered 15,000 villages. The ways of poverty relief includes industrial poverty relief, employment poverty relief. For the industrial relief, the investment volume is 52 billion yuan. And for the technique poverty relief, we invested 10.9 billion yuan. And for the employment poverty alleviation, sometimes it's targeted and we offer trainings. We help create, we help 500,000 new jobs and help train 400,000 people. And we have contributed to the newly employment. And for the registered impoverished people, we have contributed to 6.2 million of them. On the other hand, the All China Federations of Industry and Commerce plays the role of education and organization. we proactively guide and lead these private enterprises to give full play of their merits and to coordinate with the impoverished villages in order to create long-term mechanism for poverty alleviation. And we encourage them to explore the better ways. We've established good ways. To put it simply, if one enterprise wants to invest and support the impoverished village, also for other modes like the selling modes and also the e-commerce mode. Before the Spring Festival, we conducted a conference for the private sector. Liu Qiangdong from JD suggested and briefed their e-commerce platform, like the running machine. He said you can add a clip into the running machine and transport the goods from rural areas to the e-commerce platforms. We make the joke. That is because his wife is very popular, who is my schoolmate. She can help a lot. And he said his wife is very pure. She has been working on the charity fund, which accounts for more than 500 million yuan. Most of these projects are for e-commerce poverty alleviation. And for other enterprises, they help targeted employment and also to facilitate and stimulate employment. For employment poverty alleviation, if one member in the family can go out for working, the family can be released from poverty. And we also have other good modes. One is to invest the money on local factory or tourism industry. And when it starts to make money, we can divide the share so people in the villages can have their income. And some of the money can be sent to the elderly. And there is also central economic mode. So we really achieved greatly in the targeted poverty alleviation. On the other hand, for the private enterprises' engagement in targeted poverty alleviation, we have seen batches of models. There are many excellent enterprises. I would not name them out. I hope media friends can report them for more. Can report the excellent models and the typical cases of private sectors' contribution to the poverty alleviation. And finally, for us, China Federations of Industry and Commerce, we will continue to promote this course. And according to the guidance of the State Council Poverty Alleviation Office, and we are also working with the China Rural Development Bank, we have established a leading group to send out documents and policies, and we conducted online meetings and to communicate, to connect with rural impoverished village. So we made some constructive system and to find out the typical pioneers in order to guide other regions. And for the next, our federation will drive and encourage more private enterprises to be engaged in this poverty alleviation project. After their engagement, we will establish the long-term mechanism for poverty alleviation, and we will transfer to extremely impoverished areas. We need to make more efforts in these areas and also to contribute to the current economic's inner driven power. There are many tasks of our federation. We will continue to make more efforts. And today I would like to avail this opportunity to address to media friends. I really hope you can report more of the news of the private sector's contribution to poverty alleviation in order to encourage their responsibilities and the sense of mission, so that more and more private enterprises can and are willing to participate in the targeted poverty alleviation in order to achieve common prosperity and to achieve our goal of the welfare society. Thank you for your report. I would like to vow to you and thank you.
中区第3排那一边，左边的那位男记者，站起来了。
谢谢主持人，我是人民日报社记者，想提问民革中央万恶乡主席。我知道就是你经常说一句话，叫举全党之力抓参政议政。那么我想请问，5年来民革中央的参政议政工作有哪些具体成果？谢谢。
I'm with People's Daily. I have a question for Chairman Wang Exiang. I have noticed that you often say this sentence, that the whole party of the RCCK should be committed to participation in deliberation on and administration of state affairs. My question is, what specific accomplishments has the RCCK made over the past 5 years in terms of participation in state affairs?
Thank you so much for your question. I'm very thrilled that you can remember that sentence. That is actually a consensus over the past 5 years within our party. I'd like to give you a few examples of how we participated in state affairs. Last time I named a few figures, and now I'll give you a few examples. Firstly, it's about the legal order, and which is also the legal reform. This is also related to my background. I set up the first legal aid in Wuhan University. I also worked for the Supreme Court, etc. Every step and stage of my life is inseparable with legislation and law. We did around 20 seminars, and in those seminars, and after several rounds of seminar, we noticed that we are entering into a critical phase. First is about trans-regional court, including the intellectual property court, marine court, etc. Second is about the public affair court, for example, the environmental protection. Third is about the administration, supervision, reform system. And we have already establish a series of reports in those regards. Second is about accurate legislation, so to boost social civilization. In terms of social civilization, we need to mainly focus firstly on the service of resource. That used to be the law of the nation. However, in order to publicize that law into the local level, we also have conducted a series of research, and then we submit our proposal and also a pilot law draft, and that is provided to the local levels, including the city level and community level, and we ask them to set out their role in line with this demonstration. Second, we also have another demonstration law to 12 provinces, including Xiamen in Fujian province, Jingzhou in Hubei province, and Xi'an city, etc. And these cities have instituted a series of laws on the basis of their authorities. And I think in this regard, we have achieved a lot. Third, it's about the energy structure reform. You know that currently we are faced with strong smog. Hebei province consumes around 290 million tons of coal fire, and various population in the rural area in Hebei province consumed the local coal, and the wind from that province made Beijing citizens suffer. And that's why environmental protection has been a major issue in our research. We focused on the energy structure reform, and we need to coordinate with the energy structure and try to change the coal into natural gas. You can see that we did make some contribution to the blue sky of Beijing. Third, we also focused on the water resource, especially the water resource management surround Bo's Sea. And we did a research in that region. And in that water area concerns not only to the local region, but also to the northeast region, as well as the Beijing and Tianjin area. We did a report on how to achieve the circum-Bohai area environmental protection. Finally, I'd like to talk about the last industry. This is initiated firstly by an emerging forum. Firstly, we went to Panzhihua city in Sichuan province. In the winter time, the only climate condition that is equivalent to Hainan is in that city. We did a retirement forum in that city. Just by that forum, we attracted various and a huge amount of audience. We also did another forum in Zunyi, Yichang, and Weihai in Shandong province, and followed by a dozen of cities. They are calling for industrial forum from the two sessions. The forums have drive for a huge amount of investment. Thusly, I have one more thing to add on Belt and Road Initiative. We also have submitted one important proposal. That is to on the dispute resolvement on the Belt and Road Initiative. These are all the examples I'd like to talk about, and you can judge from yourself whether we have achieved something. Thank you.
Please continue to take questions.
我是中央电视台央视网央视新闻移动网的记者。我的问题想问给蔡达峰主席。蔡主席您好，我们都知道民主监督是各民主党派的一项基本职能，所以想请问您的是，换届后的民进中央将会在哪些方面着力，更好的来完成民主监督这个职能？谢谢。
谢谢你的提问。
I'm with China Central Television. My question goes to Chairman Cai Da-feng. Democratic oversight is a basic duty of the democratic parties. So my question is, how will the new leadership of China Association for Promoting Democracy better perform its duty of democratic oversight?
谢谢你的提问和关心。
Thank you for your question and concern. Democratic oversight is one of the 3 obligations of China Association for Promoting Democracy. In the past years, we have upheld this spirit of democratic oversight, and the oversight is conducted to the ruling party. We attach great importance to this oversight, and there are multiple mechanisms supporting this. 2 days ago, we conducted the poverty alleviation democratic oversight. That's a great model. The CPC Central Committee and the Central China Association for Promoting Democracy initiated targeted democratic oversight on poverty alleviation, which shows the Central Committee of CPC and China Association for Promoting Democracy attached great importance to democratic oversight. We carefully set out the plan and organized the trainings and courses and listened to the impoverished people in poorer areas and learn from them. For the problems emerging from the process, we also received suggestions, and some of the suggestions are approved by President Xi. And many walks of the society approved and supported us. During this course, we have also strengthened our democratic oversight. And for our next plan, under the leadership of Xi Jinping thought on the socialism with Chinese characteristics in New Era and the spirit of the Central Committee, we will continue to proceed our responsibility and our tasks. As a democratic oversight is a very critical task for us, we will continue to understand the poverty alleviation and to identify the highlights of our oversight key areas, and also to identify the problems in order to find it out more accurately and offer more pragmatic suggestions and more subjective reasons analysis. This is our democratic oversight task. And we also need to continuously lift and upgrade our capability of democratic oversight. This takes time. And we need to improve our recognition and organizational capability of democratic oversight. In my perspective, I think we will uphold the spirit of the 19th CPC National Congress, which identified that it will support the Democratic Party's responsibility of oversighting. And we will deepen our consciousness in democratic oversight and keep upgrading our modes of oversight. And during this process, we will take multiple types and find more targets for oversight and to identify more problems, to make it more clear-cut and to offer more pragmatic suggestions in order to accumulate more experiences during the democratic oversight and to contribute more to the poverty alleviation. Finally, as a member of the democratic parties, during the construction of democratic parties and poverty alleviations, we have learned a lot. We have more understandings of the society, and we have experienced more of the significance of poverty alleviation and building a moderately prosperous society in all respects. So we will continue focusing on building a better society, and we will absorb power from all walks of life and contribute to targeted poverty alleviation. Thank you.
谢谢主持人，我是团结报团结网记者。更高水平的医疗卫生服务、更优美的环境是人民对美好生活的向往。农工党是以医药卫生、人口资源、生态环境为界别特色的参政党。请问陈竺主席，您认为农工党在实现人民对美好生活的向往方面应该如何作为？谢谢。
团结报 Better medical and health services and a more beautiful environment are what the people want for a better life. The members of the Chinese Workers' and Peasants' Democratic Party are mainly from sectors related to health, human resources, and environment. So my question for Chairman Chen Zhu is, in your view, what should your party do to help the people live a better life?
感谢您的问题。中共19大做出的中国特色社会主义
Thank you for your question.
时代我国社会主要矛盾已经转化为
In the 19th CPC National Congress, we have already noticed that the main challenge in China is the contradiction between the increasing demand for material and cultural products and lagging productivity. This change of contradiction is a fundamental and comprehensive one, and also have posed new requirement and challenge to all aspects, and also pose new requirement to the democratic parties to show that their own responsibilities. Currently, the people is looking forward to a higher quality of Medicare service and environment. In that regard, Chinese Peasants and Workers' Democratic Party has been pushing forward to Beauty China construction and also higher quality service construction as two main paths since 2015. And we have achieved some important record results. For example, in terms of Health China, we have facilitated a development policies on health service and also the legislation for health service. We have conducted parallel research in the general plan of health service. especially surrounding the systematic obstacles and bottlenecks, and also coordinate with Medicare, healthcare, and medicine care, and also the social cares, social securities in the rural area and also urban area, so to ensure the supply of medicines and deepen the reform of healthcare education, build up a healthcare team that has a higher ability. So we also make our effort in making more contributions and suggestions in the healthcare industry. A lot of suggestions have been valued by the State Council and have been transferred into policies and regulations. In terms of Beauty China, focused on the pollution and smog regards. That is, in 2013, we also made one proposal. And over the past 5 years, in terms of ecological civilization development, including the air pollution, water pollution, in order to push forward the prevention outline of land pollution and water pollution, we have made a series of efforts. In the next 5 years, surrounding the key areas and key work plans of the 19th CPC National Congress, we will combine with the fundamental change of China's contradiction and put health care, the aging society together, so to have an in-depth research, so to meet up with the demand of the increasing demand of the people. Also, we will upgrade the reform of healthcare system to build up a comprehensive healthcare service system in the hospitals and also in GP systems, safeguard the development of traditional Chinese medicine, and we will make our contribution and suggestions continuously. Here, I also encourage friends from the press to make your effort in improving the relationship between the hospitals and the patients, so to push forward the implementation of Health China policies. In terms of pushing forward the green development and alleviating and governing the land pollution, air pollution, and water pollution, we will conduct further research and attach greater importance to the origin pollutions, so to build China into a more sustainable nation. I think the most important thing in terms of participating in the state affairs is to grasp the fundamental contradiction in the nation and have an in-depth research. A lot of our suggestions, as long as it's scientifically proven, have been adopted in majority. Therefore, the multi-party system have made its own contribution into building China into a more prosperous society with Chinese characteristics. And I'm sure we will make more effort and more contribution. Thank you.
谢谢主持人。中评社中评晚记者提问，我的这个问题是给苏辉主席的。主席您好，我们知道台盟一直以来都在为祖国和平统一大业而不懈努力哈。而你刚才也提到说，台盟要持续的来推动两岸交流合作，促进两岸同胞心灵契合。那可否请主席您介绍一下台盟在这方面展开的主要工作以及下一步的工作打算？谢谢。
Thank you. I'm from China Review News Agency. My question goes to Chairwoman Su Hui. The Taiwan Democratic Self-Government League has been committed to China's peaceful reunification, and you have just said in your opening remarks that the TDSGL will continue to promote cross-strait exchanges and cooperation and foster a closer bond between people on both sides of the straits. Could you brief us on the efforts made by the TDSGL in this regard, and what is your plan for work in the future?
谢谢中评社的记者朋友对台盟工作的关心。大家知道台盟呢与这个。
Thank you for your concern on our work. As you know, the TDSGL has close and natural relations with the people in Taiwan. In order to promote the cross-strait communication and win the democratic rejuvenation is also our goal.
着力突出呢台盟的特色，进一步扩大呢两岸的这个交流交往。那么通过举办论坛呀、研习营啊、这个培训班呀，以及邀请台湾的医师到祖国大陆开展义诊啊，就是多种多样的这种活动，那么来巩固和深化岛内乡亲的友谊，向台湾乡亲呢传递祖国大陆的这个善意和诚意，传递呢祖国和平统一、中华民族伟大复兴的这个美好愿景，促进呢两岸的交流交融，增进两岸同胞的心灵契合。那么为两岸关系发展这个大事呢汇聚这个合力。我们工作呢大致吧有以下这几个方面，简要的向各位媒体朋友介绍一下。第一个方面呢就是深入持续的开展与台湾各界朋友的交流。
Brief it to you. First, continue to conduct in-depth communication between Chinese mainland and Taiwan, and continue to broaden the energy, the power of Chinese mainland. In recent years, many celebrities like Mr. Lian Zhan and other people who have contributed to this course, and we have some civil associations totaled 100 people. We've worked together to communicate the cross-strait cooperation. Also, we have participated in the events like the Strait Forum and the Entertainment Rural Forum in order to deepen the communication between Chinese mainland and Taiwan, and to encourage people from Taiwan to set up business in Chinese mainland. And we pave the way of their development here. We keep good relations with the old friends, and we are willing to make new friends. In the past 5 years, we received 20,000 people from Taiwan, which totaled more than 1,000 groups. And we also help Chinese mainland people to find their original relatives in Taiwan. And we also conducted events to strengthen the mutual understanding of Chinese mainland and Taiwan in terms of culture and history. And we have Dajiang Forum, which has been consecutively conducted for 4 years. We invited over 800 intellectuals and experts from Chinese mainland and China, and we talked about the mutual development. Also, we established the pilot program, which is focused on the youth in Taiwan. It's called the Jingtai Cultural Communication Project, in order to enhance the communication among the youth and teenagers between Chinese mainland and Taiwan. And there were over 200 people from Taiwan. Most of them are young people. And third, under the theme of common willingness between Chinese mainland and Taiwan, we will continue to serve the society and to integrate power from people both from Chinese mainland and Taiwan. And we invite some businessmen from Taiwan to participate in the business forum. And we organized the Taiwan businessmen to visit some villages and places and signed agreements in order to help the poverty alleviation. Meanwhile, the businessmen from Taiwan who are in mainland also did their contribution, and for the consecutive 5 years, we invited them to some middle and western China to send health and healthy events to more than 1,000 local people. This is really a great platform for communication and wins widespread population. Fourth, we conducted economic and cultural communication between Chinese mainland and Taiwan. We availed the opportunities of great festivals like the 2/8 Revolution and Uprising. We will conduct the festive events to memorize these historic moments. We also give full play to our background. We published the anti-Japan thematic books, and we tell our stories from the perspective of TGSGL, and we broadcast the culture from the perspective of Taiwan. We will make our voice heard. And our publisher also conducted the Books Entering Campus event. And by the end of last year, there were about 600 types of books have entered Taiwan's campuses, and which contributed to the communication between Chinese mainland and Taiwan. Next, as the 19th CPC National Congress also deployed the work to Taiwan, also set requirements. As one of the democratic parties, we will uphold and follow the requirements and deployment of the 19th CPC National Congress, and we will give full play to our advantages and to continue supporting the people-to-people exchange between Chinese mainland and Taiwan, and also to promote the willingness of reunification. And we will continue to communicate with the different walks of life from the society, from both Taiwan and Chinese mainland. And we will conduct more trial events and to close the ties between Chinese mainland and Taiwan, and to promote the shared destiny of the cross-strait people. And seeing is believing. we really welcome people from our dear family members from Taiwan can visit Chinese mainland. I'm convinced if you come, you can see and you can find something. Thank you.
对，第5位，对，外国记者，对，他刚才他举手了。
我非常高兴，这个外国的记者也有机会这个提问。我是俄罗斯塔斯社的记者，我对万钢先生有问题民主党派对“一带一路”的建设有什么影响，有什么贡献比如说您对中俄合作态度如何？谢谢。
Thank you. I'm from the Russian news agency TASS. I'm very delighted that a member of the foreign press has given the chance to ask a question. And my question goes to Mr. Wang Gang. In your opinion, what is the influence of the democratic parties of China in terms of the development of the Belt and Road? And what contributions have you made? And I will also want to ask about your views on China-Russia cooperation.
好多手。
Probably someday in the future, I will visit Russia so that I can learn Russian as fluent as your Mandarin. You have posed an important question about the Belt and Road Initiative, as it is an important aspect in the 19th CPC National Congress. And one of the core aspects of that is to build a shared community of all mankind with the shared destiny. Actually, in order to go in line with the sharing spirit and mutual discussion spirit, we would uphold the 5 connectivities. I'm sure Sino-Russia cooperation would be your biggest concern. We have already conducted a very great range of cooperation between China and Russia. For example, in infrastructure, transnational railway establishment, and also some major cooperation projects, such as the heavy type of helicopters, the high-speed railway from China to Russia, financial cooperation, and also finally the cooperation of innovation. China and Russia has a innovation association, and we have conducted around 20 times of meetings and covering topics of technological innovation, talents exchange, and also scientific development. Over the past 2 years, the key lies to innovative development organizations, organization, exchange, cooperation, and incubator development. I sincerely hope that there will be more and more young generation from both countries to exchange more views, so as to build this shared community. All of the work is inseparable with people, because as we live in the Belt and Road countries, there are around 40 million Chinese people. They are living in Russia and in a lot of other countries along this region. They are working very hard to make contributions. They make contributions to their hometown and also make contributions to the development and reform of China. Yesterday, as Premier Li mentioned in the government work report, these overseas students are considered as a unique strength and important strength in China's reform and opening up. In order to associate with those overseas groups, what should we do? Over the past few years, over the construction of the Belt and Road Initiative, we aim to combine and unify the Chinese people overseas and overseas students to make a solid contribution in the following 4 aspects. Firstly, uphold Belt and Road Initiative as a unified path. We would like to encourage the overseas Chinese people to integrate and incorporate into the local lives of the country and try to participate into more social service works and to create a better environment of the local region. Second, it's about the development path. And we have various projects that call for the effort of various enterprises. Overseas Chinese people can bridge overseas enterprises and help the Chinese enterprises that has go abroad to get more localized. Third is about the innovation path. I'm sure you can still remember last year during the Belt and Road Development Forum, Summit, the President Xi Jinping had clearly defined that the enterprise and the research institution should establish more and more technological centers so to have more technological transfer, and so to launch more and more technological projects. All of these missions will need the contribution and suggestion from the overseas Chinese people. Fourth, we need to build the Belt and Road Initiative into a cultural path. By the exchange of views of countries across this region, we will have a positive promotion of the concept. And also, we will introduce the splendid culture in foreign countries to China. We know that Russia is a great country of ballet and also music. Cultural exchange means that we will have more people exchange. As long as our people gained good relationship, I'm sure we will have a better cooperation. Thank you.
Due to the limitation of time, that's the end of today's press conference. Thank you, dear chairpersons and friends from the media.